Welcome to the Student Athlete Spotlight, featuring local high school sports. We'll have candid interviews with coaches, students, and more. So it's playtime.
And it's everybody has the will to win when they're competing, but very few people have the will to prepare to win. So I put a lot of emphasis on preparing to win, because ultimately you can be very competitive for that 32 minutes of game time, but if you didn't work hard at practice or in the off season, you're not always going to be that successful.
Absolutely.
Sponsored by the Dorsey Law Firm, St. Mary's County personal injury lawyer.
Good evening. I'm here with Matt Wood from Great Mills High School, girls basketball coach of 11 years. A student athlete spotlight tonight for the winter sports. Excited to have you on and talk a little bit about what's going on over there with the green and the gold.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me. Looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. So tell me a little bit about your leadership and some of the seniors you have coming into the season.
So we have two seniors coming back. One was on varsity last year, Avon, and the other one was actually a sophomore last year, wants to graduate early, so she's a senior this year.
Oh, wow.
Really, really smart girl, Brady. And
is she going to play in college?
So not basketball necessarily, but
Okay.
she's a good athlete. I know
Okay.
she played field hockey.
Okay.
And I don't know what her college plans are, but she's
Okay.
if she doesn't play sports, she's definitely got good grades to get in somewhere good and
Absolutely.
pursue some academic goal.
So what kind of coach are you? A screamer? Are you a quiet guy? Are you both? Do you kick the bench?
So I won't kick the bench. I do scream, but I like to think that I scream positive stuff, words of encouragement.
Okay.
Kids today can't be screamed at necessarily. They're not going to respond well like maybe 30 years ago they might have.
Right.
So I will scream, but
when it's necessary, but it means something when you
does.
do it.
And I hope that they know that it comes from the right place.
How'd you end up there being a teacher? You're in the history department?
Yeah,
Is that
so
right?
I'm a
So how'd you end up
history
at Great
teacher.
Mills? Tell me how the story.
So about 11 years ago, I was a substitute teacher in Pennsylvania, and I had
Okay.
been for probably 3 years, and you couldn't find a job in Pennsylvania to save your life, or New Jersey.
Wow.
So
you
I
came all the way down here.
Came all the way down here.
That's fantastic.
Interviewed Dr. Heibel. Called me one night and said, "Can you come down for an interview the next day?"
Okay.
I was painting somebody's bedroom, so I said, I need 2 days. I need to finish this job. But I'd be glad to come down. Drove down early, stayed here one night, went to my interview the next day.
Wow.
And luckily, he offered me the job, and I've been happy here ever
You never
since.
been before, right? Signed on, right? Never saw
I
it?
had never been to Southern Maryland,
How about that?
but I'm glad to be here.
That's great. Well, that's a neat story. Did anyone your family coach as well? Or
It's funny, I was telling somebody this today. So my dad would coach a little bit of like rec league stuff, but we have on his side of the family like probably 8 or 9 uncles,
Okay.
and I rarely knew them, but they all live in Iowa, and they were all teachers, and they were all coaches.
Okay.
So it's in the bloodline,
genes.
just
Yeah.
not directly. My mom was a teacher for a little while,
Okay.
but nobody
Very good.
necessarily.
Did you play basketball yourself?
Played basketball in high school.
So if you played Coach Bell one-on-one, who would win?
Coach Bill's got.
He's got a little size on you.
He
but
does. If he
height.
posts me up, he's gonna
But
take
you're
it to
probably a good
me.
handle and can shoot.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to be quick if he's on the perimeter.
So you're betting on yourself.
I always bet on myself, but he'd be a tough matchup.
I love it.
He's good. We've actually played pickup before,
Okay.
and he's pretty darn good.
Okay.
A bunch of teachers in the building are pretty good at
Oh, that's
basketball.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Traditions. Is there anything at Great Mills you've kind of brought there as a girl, something you do before games or a pregame, or tonight was a pregame practice? Like, there's something
yeah.
you guys do efficiently?
We definitely walk through what we think they're going to do. We'll spend a
Right.
good 30, 40 minutes walking through what we think they're going to do, how to defend it,
Right.
what we want to do in certain situations. Traditions, I think we're a well-organized program. As far as any type of pregame tradition, nothing really that stands out. Great Mills is just a good basketball school, so no matter where
Absolutely.
you go, where these girls are in class, there's probably a teacher that wants to talk basketball or students that want to talk basketball. So Great Mills has a strong basketball tradition.
That's really cool. So what are you expecting for the season? What's your outlook?
I think we lost 3 starters from last year's team, but we have a good core back. I expect us to compete and get better. That's my only expectation. So all I tell them every day is let's just come to practice with effort and attitude, and we'll get better as time goes on. And then I've been pointing out to them, the North Point football team that just won a state championship.
Yes, absolutely.
Started the season with 2 really, really tough defeats.
Yes, they did.
And couldn't be in a better spot right now.
No question.
So little sources of inspiration like that, if we
Yeah.
can pull from them, I hope
Yeah.
the girls recognize them.
That's awesome. If you were going to give advice to a 7th, 8th grader right now, boy or girl, that wants to play basketball at the high school level, what would you tell them?
I mean, the one thing I would tell kids that age as they especially girls, play with a smaller ball. I think at certain levels, I would say play on a smaller hoop, because we get certain girls here and their form needs a whole lot of work, and that's not necessarily something we can spend.
It's because the ball's too big.
Yeah,
and
they're shooting from the
hip. It
hip.
affects
and,
their form. Yeah, okay.
So I wish we would emphasize that a little bit more. I would definitely tell the girls, because there's always kids playing basketball, just go out and play.
Yep.
They don't necessarily do that. They play so much AAU, and they'll wait,
Right.
obviously, for our season or playing gym class. But
Right.
just go to a park if you can, if there's one nearby, and go play. Learn the game that way. That's how a lot of people learn the game.
Yep.
Instead of always, so much structure. And it's fun doing it that way, too,
Right.
and it's good for you. So I just hope more people would get out there and play.
Absolutely. That's great. I mean, there's going to be young people listening to this as well, so it's nice to hear that advice from a coach who's done it so long and so well. Talk about your staff a little bit.
Yeah, so we have 3 people back from last year.
Okay.
Coach Daniels is our JV coach, and I think he's been with me 7 years. His daughter played for us, and she's playing in college right now down at Mars Hill.
Okay.
Coach McCoy, who a lot of people in the community know, he's in charge of one of the AAU programs down here.
Okay.
And he's a great guy, always, a good kind of sounding board, somebody who maybe offers me some great advice. And then Coach Bryant's back, and I think this is her 3rd year with us.
Okay.
And she's learning, and I think her kids play basketball, so some of the
Okay.
stuff she takes from our practice, she takes
Super.
and gives to them. And, just lucky to have them.
Absolutely. And what brings you back? 11 years now. What makes you want to come coach again, invigorate yourself, do it again?
I mean, I've never not wanted to coach.
Awesome.
I coached 3 seasons during the school year.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
This is the one I'm in charge of. This is the one
Okay.
I'm.
What else do you coach?
So in the fall, I coached volleyball. That was
Okay.
my 2nd season.
Okay.
And I'm learning the game of volleyball. And then spring, I do softball.
Okay.
So it's all girls sports.
That's fantastic.
But basketball's, and everybody knows this, that's clearly the one I'm passionate about. So it's not what brings me back. I don't know what would take me away
Right,
from it.
right.
I don't want to go away from it. I like it too much, and I'm having too much fun.
That's fantastic.
It's a good way to compete, and
Yeah.
as you get older, you got to find these other ways.
So you
to
mentioned,
compete.
yeah, right, exactly. We could go out and play as much anymore. Or we limp around for 3 days.
Oh yeah, I'd feel it the next couple of weeks.
So you mentioned a couple of quotes earlier, but what would be finish with one quote that you maybe use a lot with your players would say, hey, Coach Wood always says this to us and it carries on with us through life?
The one I have kind of written, everybody has quotes on their
Yeah.
locker in our
Yes,
team
sir.
room, and I might botch it here, but it comes from Bobby Knight, and it's everybody has the will to win when they're competing, but very few people have the will to prepare to win. So I put a lot of
That's a good
emphasis on preparing to win, because ultimately you can be very competitive for that 32 minutes of game time,
Right.
but if you didn't work hard at practice or in the off season, you're not always going to be that successful.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us,
Hey,
Coach
appreciate
Wood.
it.
Really loved having you on the show, and look forward to get some of the girls on later in
Yeah,
the
we'd
year.
love
and,
to.
And best of luck this season.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Yeah.